Alright, so we gotta build around Alolan Marowak. Let's see, how do I really want to build around this? Fire Ghost. The biggest rock ground weakness. This is probably the worst Pokemon in the game. If we're being honest, this is probably the worst Pokemon in the game. That's like a fully evolved Pokemon. It has really low base stats. Has a ton of weaknesses. Weaknesses to rock, water, ghost, dark, ground. Probably something else. And it doesn't really have like good stats. You say rude, but like I'm just saying, like stat wise, it's really bad. In like, you know, VGC 2017 and like Sun and Moon, it had items. Like the Thick Club was a move that doubles its offensive stat. It doubles its attack. It doesn't have that in this game, so it's like really struggling. Still weaker. It has a decent, like even regular Marowak. Regular Marowak is a lot better than Alolan Marowak because at the end of the day, if you get one attack off with this guy, you're a success. Also, it doesn't have its main move, which is Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone's not in the game. So we're going to be really struggling here with how to use this Pokemon. But it's okay. I think we'll be fine. So let's see. Marowak. So we can't have a ton of weaknesses to Ghost. We can have one more weakness to Rocks. We can have maybe one more weakness to Ground. But the first thing we're going to want to do is cover up for this Earthquake weakness. So we gotta add something that's not weak to rocks that helps us fight against the Earthquake weakness. So we can't use fire types, can't use flying types, can't use steel types, can't use most grass because they're grass poison, so we can't use any poison types, can't use any rock Pokemon. Marowak's hard to figure out. Yeah, Marowak's not very good. I have an idea. Alright, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. Where's my Electrode? Where's my boy? Perfect. Okay. Alright, I need some special attackers. I need a second taunt user too. Second taunt user. That's not Nidoking. I don't want to use Gyarados, though. Nope, I don't want to use Gyarados. I don't like Gyarados in this team. Need another taunt user. I don't want to use Aerodactyl. I want a taunt user that's not weak to rocks. Or I don't want to use Mew either. It's time for Dragonair? Nope, it's not. Dragonair's not coming. Well, alright, so the reason we're not using Dragonair, guys, is we're trying to make the best team. That's the thing. We're trying to make the best team possible. We're not memeing. We're trying to make the best team with these Pokemon. Persian's actually okay. I don't really have one, but Persian is a good choice. I have like this Persian, but we're not using Persian. It's okay. There's better options. There are better options than Persian, just barely. We need a semi-fast Tauntmon that's not weak against ground or not weak against rocks. To start off with, I know we're real heavy into physical. We're actually going to cut this then. We need another special attacker. We have a good Mega. We need a secondary special attacker. I'm going to see what it looks like when I put Zapdos in. I just want to see. What does it look like if I throw that in there? Nope, that's bad. I don't know how much, but let's go meta. Would Zapdos be a good choice for the team? I just looked at Zapdos. It's not good since we already have Electrode. That's have many level 100 max heavy good danger Pokemon if you like any. Dude, what do you got? Butterfree? No. Articuno's not good here either. Articuno can't be used. What about? Nope, I can't use an electric type. And I don't want to use Starmie. Starmie has so many shared weaknesses with Marowak. It's all the ghost weakness. We need a special attacker. It can't be psychic. Because of the Shadow Ball weakness. I'd like it to be a normal type. This is a good time for, where is it? This is the only fucking time you could do this. It's that. Let's see, how does this work? Ground, flying. Rocks, taunt. Yeah, this works. I like this. Okay. Alright, so this works. We're actually going to be using a Wigglytuff here. Wigglytuff's actually not that bad, believe it or not. Wigglytuff is not the worst Pokemon in the world. The only awkward Pokemon here is Nidoking. at this point, but I think we're still okay. Problem with Articuno is always too niche. No. Articuno is really good. It's just that we're already using a Dragonite. That's the reason why we're not doing it. Articuno and Dragonite really share like a lot of the same checks. A lot of the same things that check each one. Check both of them. So let's see. Physical. What about Primeape over Nido? No. But we need a secondary taunt user that can actually. That's not a bad idea. What if we just... No, because we need another taunt user, right? We need another taunt user that doesn't take rocks damage. Let's think about that. Well, all right, I'll keep it on the table. It's definitely an option. Primeape's definitely an option. Because Primeape's actually pretty good in this team. But, like, I want another special attacker. If I could choose another special attacker. I want something... Taunt and U-turn. I know it's good, right? It's really good. Primeape would fit in well. Primeape was okay. But is Primeape the best Pokemon for this team? I don't think so. I don't think it is. Alolan Persian. Alolan Persian's okay, but it's actually not amazing. It's not. It's Alolan Persian. We don't have enough bulk. Yeah, we need a little bit more bulk. We need just a little bit more bulk, guys. We need just a teensy tiny bit more bulk. Because the problem with Primeape is if you leave Primeape and go for taunt, they'll be like, I'm just gonna one-shot you, fam. That's the problem with Primeape. I think Nidoking's fine. I actually like the Nidoking. The more I look at it, the more Nidoking actually gains a little bit more value. Okay. This is the team for Alolan Marowak. We were requested to build around Alolan Marowak, and this is not easy. Alolan Marowak has weaknesses to Ghost, Dark, Water, Ground, something else. So many weaknesses. Alright, so many weaknesses for Alolan Marowak. That means it's really hard to double up on things. And so in situations where I can't have multiple weaknesses to ground, I can't have multiple weaknesses to rocks, I decided to go all in on the weaknesses to rocks, but bring hard counters for rocks. I decided to bring Electrode to go for taunts. So, remember, Electrode's the fastest Pokemon in the game. The only Pokemon that can ever outspeed it are Mega Alakazam, and Mega Aerodactyl can speed tie it. So, the Swords Dance Hyper Beam doesn't one-shot. So, Hyper Beam is a special attack. So, like, 3 Swords Dance Hyper Beam does a good 10%. But, yeah, the way it works is we're going to taunt their Stealth Rocks 90% of the time. We're going to lead with Electrode 90% of the time. We're going to taunt them. And even though we have Marowak and Gyarados and Dragonite with Rock's weaknesses, bruh, it's like, what Rock's weakness? You know, like, it doesn't even have to happen. And if they ever want to lead with, like, a Rhydon and set Rocks, well, I can just leave Gyarados in check. If they want to lead with, like, a Sandslash and Rocks, and I don't want to, like, risk getting Earthquake or something like that, I can lead. So I have taunt here, I have taunt here, they have to potentially respect the taunt here. So I have so many taunts that I'm going to be able to taunt them from setting up a Stealth Rocks if I play smart every single time. And so if they don't have Rocks up, our team's pretty busted. Like, we could switch freely all game, we can mitigate a ton of damage. And then our weaknesses to Earthquakes here on the Electrode, Marowak, and Nidoking are completely mitigated because of... what is it? Our weaknesses are completely mitigated because we have 2 flying types. So as long as you taunt the rocks, you're going to be in a really, really good spot. But you got to risk it for the biscuit. You got to risk it for the biscuit. We're going to talk about some movesets, some natures in just a sec. Obviously, we have 3 potential setters for rocks. We have Marowak can set rocks. Nidoking can set rocks. It does have rocks. Both these guys have it. And Wigglytuff can also set rocks, but... we're not going to be using rocks on Wigglytuff. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Marowak. Marowak, remember, doesn't get Thick Club in this game, but it is still technically useful. We're not going to be using our Relax one. We're probably going to be using a Careful or a Impish Marowak. I don't think we need Adamant. We definitely don't need Jolly. So Careful or Impish. You can pick Impish. Remember, boost your defense if you want to block physical attacks, which, you know, you're going to be getting one-shotted by most of those. And special, you know, you can switch in on ones that you resist. Like, you resist grass attacks, you resist poison attacks. Maybe you want to increase, and, you know, obviously you might want to be careful in that situation. You could switch in on those types and take a little bit less damage. One good thing about Alolan Marowak is you have a pretty good matchup against, like, Venusaur. so maybe I'd probably recommend going careful on this guy. Our moveset is going to be Stealth Rocks. This is going to be our main Stealth Rock setter, in my opinion. Stealth Rocks, Will-O-Wisp, Earthquake in case you catch your opponent sleeping with a like Jolteon or, you know, an Electrode or something like that. Go for a big Earthquake, and Flare Blitz is your main stab move. Remember, this is a 120 base move. You take 33% recoil, but it's going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Even though you're not very strong, it's about as good as you're going to get. Can someone trade with me so I can defeat the Future Gym Leader? It's so annoying. I don't have that, but I'm streaming. I'm sure someone could do it. There's actually a spot in our Discord, too, for trades and stuff. Maybe check that out. Anyone can check out the Discord. It's completely free for everyone. But yeah, Stealth Rock's main setter, Will-O-Wisp, pretty good at crippling physical attackers. If you know your opponent's going to lead with something and it's a big physical attacker, you can go for that Will-O-Wisp. Maybe if you have like a Alolan Marowak and your opponent is going to switch like a Gyarados to punish you or an Aerodactyl to punish you, pop a big Will-O-Wisp on that switch, you're going to be a pretty good spot. Earthquake, like I said, punishing those really, really big, you know, electric types. Also really good against the Alolan Muck. And you should be in a pretty good spot. Alolan Marowak, not nearly as powerful as it should be, but this is probably the best moveset you're going to get to use it to its fullest potential, and I highly recommend a careful nature on this guy. After that, you see me use his Electrode a million times. We got Timid Electrode, 150 base speed. You got the fastest taunt in the game other than Mega Aerodactyl, who speed ties it. You got Light Screen just in case. Remember, you can always switch out Light Screen for Reflect if you're feeling you're taking a lot more physical damage, which probably might be on this team. So Reflect would be nice, but remember, we got Will-O-Wisp on Alolan Marowak to cut those physical attacks just in case. So I really do recommend the Light Screen because it's one of your few ways to make it so you can actually eat Psychics on multiple Pokemon. Thunder Wave's there to cripple speed. We got a ton of speed control on this team. If you're not going for Will-O-Wisp, you're definitely going for Thunder Wave and make it so your other Pokemon like Alolan Marowak can actually start outspeeding things. You want to get as many Thunder Waves up as possible. Electrode's going to make it so you can do that. And Thunder, you can use Thunderbolt if you want, but I've never had a problem with Thunder on Electrode. 70% accuracy, but 30% chance to parry. You got to risk it for the biscuit, deal that big damage, and Electrode's just the type of Pokemon. It's the perfect Pokemon that lets your team actually play this really, really greedy playstyle. Because like I said, 3 huge weaknesses to Stealth Rocks, but if they can't set them up, you're in a good spot. And leading with if you have a team like this, your opponent is 1,000,000,000% going to be like, I need Stealth Rocks. So you're going to be able to bait them right from the start of the game. It's going to be absolutely perfect. So Electrode, very, very good Pokemon. Pivotal. I would say it's the only way to play Alolan Marowak is to use Electrode, and you got to be timid. After that, we have Gyarados. I've talked about using I've talked about using Jolly and Adamant Gyarados. We're going to go Adamant on this one, just because I feel you got to do that maximum amount of damage. Another Pokemon that uses Thunder Wave, we're going to go Thunder Wave Substitute. This is what you're actually going to try and do, is you're going to try and set like Stealth Rocks with Marowak. Maybe use it as much as possible, and then when your opponent is caught with a Pokemon that can't deal that much damage, you come in with Gyarados, set up a sub, and literally just start sweeping out all 6 of their Pokemon. You've seen most recent my streams, my Gyarados traits like 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 against most teams after it goes Mega. This is going to be your main Mega. I think it's going to be your only Mega. Yeah, it's going to be your only Mega. Remember, it gains Dark typing upon Mega Evolving, losing its Flying type, so it doesn't have that weakness to Rocks anymore. And it is so thick. This game can be risky as people paying attention. I mean, it weighs 100% Electrode. It is not. You are incorrect. It is not. It looks like it's Electrode, but the fact that we have Gyarados to punish, ground rock setters, and we have, it's 100% Electrode if they're leading Aerodactyl. If the rock setter is a Rhydon or Golem, you can lead Electrode. If their rock setter is like a Sandslash or a Clefable or a Wigglytuff or an Alolan Marowak or like literally anything else, you can lead with Nidoking. But if their lead is Aerodactyl, you have to lead Electrode. So that's how it works. We have multiple taunt Pokemon that can get around that situation. So yeah, Gyarados is really, really good. You're going to be able to trade 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for 3, 1 for 4 every single time if you use this Pokemon correctly. And use the correct use of Substitute is going to be key. Weaving in Thunder Waves in as often as possible so you can outspeed things and go for those para turns as well as the flinches and waterfall. Great combo. Gyarados is an amazing Pokemon and really complements Marowak's weaknesses. Marowak, like I said, weak to ground. Gyarados is flying. Marowak weak to Ghost. Gyarados can Mega Evolve, gain that Dark typing. Marowak weak to Rocks. Gyarados can Mega Evolve, lose weakness to Rocks. Marowak weak to Water. Gyarados is a Water type. It can resist it. Marowak weak to literally everything. Gyarados comes in. He's like, dude, I got you, bro. Feels great to see my name on my boy Gyarados. Yo, dude, that's the play. His first entry night. Yeah, Gyarados is a pivotal if you want to use a Marowak. Really had to like pick my brain to be like, how do we make a team around this Pokemon? But it's definitely coming together. After that, we have Nidoking here. It's going to be a secondary Stealth Rocks user, like I said, for important things like your, weakness coverage and offensive coverage. You really want to double up. Nidoking is pretty much just a better Alolan Marowak. It gets the same EQ that you now stab. It gets Taunt. It gets Stealth Rocks as well. It also has Ice Punch instead of Flare Blitz. And remember how I said like Ice and Psychic and Fire all pretty much hit the same type, which is Grass. Yeah, it's pretty much the same Pokemon, just a little bit better. It also has ground typing, so you're going to be able to switch it in on electric attacks. Remember, you need a ground type Pokemon on your team. I swear, you need at least one ground type if you're ever going to think about using a Gyarados. So, you know, you want your Marowak, you want your Nidoking. Both are very similar, but having both and having the ability to lead a Stealth Rocks user that can taunt the other Stealth Rocks user, and then Stealth Rocks after you know they have to switch is really, really good, and that's why I really like Nidoking. You could technically use Nidoqueen if you wanted, but I feel having the offensive pressure from Nidoking is really, really valuable. Also, I don't know if Nidoqueen gets Taunt. We're going to check that right now, because I think Taunt's the play, and Nidoking has enough speed to be able to taunt most Pokemon. So we're just going to check if Nidoqueen can get Taunt to see if that's something that people actually want to go for, but I don't think it can. Nidoqueen's not as nearly as... Oh, it can learn Taunt. It can learn Taunt, but it's slower than Nidoking, so if you want a faster Taunt, go Nidoking. If you want a little more bulk, which you don't technically need, because we're playing all in. This team is all in, and Nidoking definitely fits that playstyle a little bit more. What if they rocks with Mew, Clefable, or any other rocks non-ground user? Well, what is Mew going to do to an Electrode? Are you going to Earthquake Beam with a Mew? If you lead Mew, and I lead Electrode, and I taunt you, and you Earthquake crit me, which, by the way, you have to crit, I guess I just bring in my Gyarados, and, like, now what do? You got a physical Mew, I got Gyarados, like, you still don't have rocks up. Like, mission accomplished, rocks denied. Mew has to switch. On that switch, you know I'm popping my big sub, and then I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be absolutely fine. So, yeah, Nidoking's really, really good. And after this, we have Dragonite. So, again, Dragonite sharing a lot of shared weaknesses with Nidoking in Ice, and then, like, Rocks with Gyarados, Rocks with Marowak as well. But if we taunt, we don't have those Stealth Rocks weaknesses, so we only have to watch out for Rock Slides from things like Aerodactyl. So, note that Electrode... Oh, by the way, I really do recommend Jolly for Nidoking. Remember, we're using a physical Nidoking. You can go Adamant, but since we want to use our taunt to the utmost potential, we want to be as fast as possible, so we really got to go Jolly. I think Rocks users that King hits that Queen doesn't. I don't know what you mean. Like, speed-wise, you can taunt, like, Gyarados and stuff with this, and taunt Venusaurs and stuff, which is why I like using Jolly Nidoking over Nidoqueen. It really has a much better matchup versus Venusaurs. So, in review, we got Careful Marowak, Timid Electrode, Adamant Gyarados, Jolly Nidoking, and we have Dragonite. And Dragonite's going to be the third Thunder Wave user. This team's going to be heavy on Thunder Wave. So it's like, we got Thunder Wave on Electrode, we have Thunder Wave on Gyarados, and we have Thunder Wave on Dragonite. There's going to be a ton of speed control in this team. And once we paralyze all their Pokemon, you know, mid-tier speed Pokemon like Nidoking, Gyarados, Marowak, Dragonite, Wigglytuff, you know, Dragonite's one of the strongest Pokemon in the game, and that Outrage is going to deal massive damage. Most Pokemon actually get one-shotted from Outrage after Stealth Rocks. So if you could use one of your two Stealth Rock users, get Stealth Rocks, come out with the Dragonite, you can just Outrage City sweep like 2 or 3 Pokemon. Dragonite's another extremely valuable Pokemon that can trade 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for 3, 1 for 4. It's a Pokemon that can win the game, and it's better the way you send it out in the game. Ice-type attacks aren't very common. And Fairy Talks aren't very common either, but one of the biggest weaknesses of Dragonite, because we're using an Adamant one, is Jolly Dragonites, right? Jolly Dragonites can outspeed us and go for Outrages. So I got one of these. Fairy type, Wigglytuff. We're not going to be using Naughty. We're probably going to be using some other... We're going to be using another nature, but Fairy type nullifies Dragon. So if you know they're going to be using like a Jolly Dragonite to punish your Dragonite, or like any Outrage, because every Pokemon in this game gets Outrage, just switch your Wigglytuff and wall it out. Easy. And another thing that Wigglytuff brings to the table that Clefable doesn't is that it's a normal Fairy type. So it's not just walling, it's not just nullifying the nullification from Dragon attacks, it's nullifying the Marowak's weakness to Shadow Ball. Perfect synergy, chat. Perfect synergy. And if they ever want to go for fighting attacks on any of your Pokemon, like, you know, your Mega Gyarados, you can always switch in your Marowak. That's, I guess, one thing you can do with Marowak. But, yeah, normal type's actually going to come in humongous here, and it's actually going to help our Wigglytuff out, because our Wigglytuff is going to be able to stab Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack, it's the best Tri-Attack user in the game, in my opinion. 80 base power, there's a 10% chance to get a Burn, Freeze, or Para. Put some RNGs up in chat for Wigglytuff. Also note that it gets Ice Beam for Dragonites, for Aerodactyls and stuff like that. Thunderbolt's always good against bulky waters. Fire Blast is there exclusively for Melmetals, and, you know, other things like Venusaur and stuff like that. If you really want to hit like a Venusaur, you can Ice Beam it. But I think Fire Blast is really, really good, and you need Fire Blast. We're actually going to be packing a modest Wigglytuff because we got the special attacks on lockdown. If they switch in Melmetal on a Wigglytuff, you're in the middle of Fire Blast, it's going to be a 2-shot from a modest Wigglytuff against a Melmetal, and you actually need the Fire Blast over the, I think you need Fire Blast. Someone could calc it for me, but I'm pretty sure you need Fire Blast over Flamethrower to get the 2 shots. And if you don't, if you want to go Flamethrower, you probably can get away with that too. But I don't have a problem with using 85 base power moves. And if you do, you can go Flamethrower, but I really think Fire Blast is value. So yeah, Wigglytuff's really, really good. It covers up a lot for Marowak's weaknesses. And after you get like 3 paras with these Pokemon, maybe Rocks up, things take 56. Once things have taken like 30% from Stealth Rocks and like other chip damage, and they're paralyzed, Wigglytuff has such perfect offensive coverage. It's just going to finish them off from there. It has really, really good coverage. You're going to be able to hit something for so good. Is it 10% burn, 10% freeze, 10% para, or 10%? So it's a 10% chance to deal a status condition, and then the one that it does is just random. It's not 3 separate rules. I don't think so. It's never been like that as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, Tri-Attack's pretty good. It's your main stab. But you can always just use Fire Blast, Thunderbolt, or Ice Beam. Bolt Beam's perfect. Fire Blast is there for Melmetals because your team uses a lot of physical attackers. It's actually a little bit weak to Melmetal. I know for a fact you're gonna have to like Flare Blitz and Melmetal. Doubling up on Fire type attack is pretty good. But yeah, I think this is probably the best way to play Marowak. And you've seen me actually use this type of team in a team building video before, where you want to use a team that has multiple Pokemon that are weak to rocks, Stealth Rocks in particular. So what you really do is you go all in on fast Tauntmons to stop their rocks. Once their rocks are stopped, they kind of scramble for a few turns to try to regain board pressure. During that time, you're crippling their whole team with speed control, with Thunder Waves. You're setting up subs in their face. You're setting up your own rocks. You're doing the chip damage whenever you can, and you're picking them off with your bulky wall, and you have really niche typings to switch to. I like Wigglytuff, I like it a lot, but Gengar could completely destroy it. Immune to Tri-Attack, weak to Sludge Bomb, can't use it to protect Marowak against Gengar. I mean, but you can use Gyarados to fight a Gengar. You can use Dragonite to fight a Gengar. You can use Nidoking to fight a Gengar. You can use Electro to fight a Gengar. Why am I fighting Gengar with my Wigglytuff? I would just switch to Nidoking to block a Sludge Bomb. You're creating a situation that would never happen. I would not be like, ooh, Gengar. What I would probably do in that situation was if I have Marowak out and they have Gengar, I switch to Wigglytuff to block a Shadow Ball, and then once I know they're going to shed a Sludge Bomb, I switch right into my Nidoking to block the Sludge Bomb, and then they herp derp scoop the game. Unless they have Psychic, and I could know if they have Psychic based off of if it's game 1, game 2, game 3, I could switch to Mega Gyarados to block the Psychic, and then they really don't have anything unless they also have Thunderbolt. You know, like, you can play Devil's Advocate all you want, but, you know, there's always things to switch to. This team, like I said, has really good coverage, but it's niche coverage. It's just enough coverage to be able to mitigate just enough damage to where you can sweep your opponents out and have a couple big Pokemon like Dragonite and Gyarados that trade like 1 for 2. Not gonna lie, 90% of the time when you win games with this team, you're gonna be winning with like 1 or 2 Pokemon left. It's gonna be the closest game of your life, but those are the ones that end up being the best. So in review, you got Careful Marowak, Timid Electrode, Adamant Gyarados, Jolly Nidoking, Adamant Dragonite, and Modest Wigglytuff. And you can always go back and look at the movesets that I recommended. We're going to look at them one more time here. We have 1 Stealth Rock user in Marowak. We also have a Will-O-Wisp user in case we really need to cripple some big physical attackers. But more often than not, we're going to want to go for Thunder Waves. This is really good for like crippling like Aerodactyls. More often than not, like a Thunder Wave is really good against an Aerodactyl. But like, if I Will-O-Wisp your Aerodactyl, I can send out my I can send out Gyarados, Mega Evolve, sub, and it can't break the sub anymore. So like, it's a really, really good situation. Alright, and we got our first Thunder Wave user, our fastest taunt user. Light Screen can replace for Reflect if you really want it. Thunder Wave's really good. Thunder's my choice. You can put Thunderbolt if you really like it. I've seen people use Foul Play as well. I'm not a big fan of Foul Play. I really don't think you need it in this situation. After this, you can also decide to cut Thunder Wave for Taunt on Gyarados if you want a secondary Taunt user to be able to have another Taunt option if you really need it. But I really think Thunder Wave's value, and I think having at least 2 Thunder Wave users on a team is value, and a third one just cements the fact that you're always going to have one on the board at any time. Substitute is what makes this set actually work. Stabbed Crunch if you go Mega, which this is your only Pokemon that can Mega, so you're going to go Mega eventually at some point, most likely. And Waterfall for that Para-Flinch combo after they're paralyzed. You know, it's a 20% chance to flinch with Waterfall on top of the Para chance. Another Taunt user, another Stealth Rocks user. Ice Punch can always be switched for a bunch of different moves, but I've actually just found the most value from Ice Punch. Being able to freeze stuff is actually always pretty nice, and this makes so Nidoking can actually hit those flying types like Zapdos, you know, like Aerodactyl. He also makes it so super effective means like Venusaur. Obviously, it's the same strength, a super effective Ice Punch against like a Venusaur as an Earthquake would be. Earthquake after stabs 150 versus Ice Punch super effective doubles to 150. But like if their main Pokemon is like an Aerodactyl and you're like, I don't know, I could Ice Punch it, but like what if he switches to Venusaur and I want to go for a Reed? Well, you don't have to potentially Earthquake and Aerodactyl, you can just go for an Ice Punch. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I really think this moveset's good, but if you had to switch any move off, you would take off Ice Punch for something like Poison Jab if you wanted a little bit more stabbed coverage. It's up to you. Thunder Wave, another Pokemon with Thunder Wave. I've seen people use Agility Dragonite. Agility Dragonite totally works. This, unfortunately, isn't really the team for Agility Dragonite. You want to play the game where you paralyze stuff, switch to stuff, and, you know, punish everything. You want to Thunder Wave, roof as stuff as possible. Use Earthquake until you have to pop that big Outrage, and after Stealth Rocks, you're going to be one-shotting most Pokemon with Outrage because you get that big Adamant Dragonite. Anything that you don't one-shot with Outrage, like, you'll be able to finish off with the rest of your Pokemon. IMO. After that, you have Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff covers for Marowak's weaknesses. It also covers for Dragonite's weaknesses. It has super effective moves in Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Fire Blast for the Melmetals. If you're going to use Fire Blast or Flamethrower, I really recommend using a PP Max just in case you miss a couple times. And it's a stab tri-attack, and it's one of the best tri-attack users in the game. And I really recommend a modest one. If you can't get a modest one, something like Calm or Bold is really good if you plan on soaking a little bit more damage. I plan on being more aggressive with my Wigglytuff play, but that is the team. That's the team. Let's talk about the order that we're going to do this. We're going to try to hide our Electrode as much as possible. We're going to make our team look like it's the most weak team to Stealth Rocks of all time. That's probably the best. No, that's... Yeah, because this baits them into going like Taunt or like Rocks or like Aerodactyl. This is like a really, really good susceptible Aerodactyl one. And then we can leave like Aerodactyl to bait the, we can leave Electrode to bait the Aerodactyl. Or like if they want to go like literally anything, like everything beats Wigglytuff as a lead. Wigglytuff's only good when you send it out after you get the Thunder Waves off. So like I really do think that having Wigglytuff, if you lead Wigglytuff Marowak at the start of your team, if it just looks like this is your team preview, they're like, holy shit, this guy's bad. He's using Wigglytuff and Marowak. So you want to make them think you're as bad as possible in the team preview to go for the mind games. And then after that, you guys have seen me talk about it before. If they have any Rocks user, you have to lead with something that can either one-shot that Rocks user or taunt it. You have to respect their Rocks. If they get up Stealth Rocks and your team can't like just win the game by sending out Gyarados or Dragonite and sweeping like all 6 of their Pokemon, you will lose the long game. You have 3 weaknesses to Stealth Rocks. You will lose if you have to switch more than like 5 or 6 times. I promise you, you will lose. So you have to respect their Stealth Rocks, and that's an unfortunate consequence of having to use Marowak in your team. You have to respect their Stealth Rocks, you have to taunt it, and always be wary of them like going for a double switch to get a really good board position so they can get Stealth Rocks off. If you can get their Stealth Rocks off, Stealth Rocks user off the board, you're going to be in a great spot, and 90% of the time, they're going to let you have it. They're going to lead it and think they're so fine. They're going to think they're so safe. Like, they're going to lead their Stealth Rocks user and be like, well, if you lead Wigglytuff, we're just going to trade Rocks. No, we're not. You're not going to lead the Wigglytuff. You're going to punish the Rocks user. You're going to taunt the Rocks user. You're going to KO the Rocks user. You're going to Outrage one-shot the Rocks user. You're going to taunt their Rocks user and set up your own Rocks right back in their face. And that is how you play with Alolan Marowak.